News just coming in. The External Affairs Minister Sushma Swaraj has just met the Chinese President Xi Jinping. This is a break from protocol that she was invited by President Xi. Usually when the Indian Foreign Minister goes to China, at best they meet the Chinese Premier. Xi Jinping inviting Sushma Swaraj, taking this relationship altogether to a new level between India and China. Now the focus is Positive Agenda 2015. The Chinese president made an exception, invited Sushma Swaraj and met her. Usually it's the Prime Minister that they meet. Sources also telling headlines today that Prime Minister Narendra Modi is expected to visit China sometimes in end May 2015, sometimes before 26th of May. And what we also know that he has been invited to the Fuping County, which is President Xi's hometown, and this is reciprocating Prime Minister Narendra Modi's invitation that was extended to President Xi when he visited Ahmedabad, and they spent an evening together on the banks of river Sabarmati. Headlines today is Anant Krishnan joins us from Beijing with the latest. Anant, you are there on ground zero. Take us through Sushma Swaraj's visit and especially her meeting with President Xi Jinping.
Yes, Gaurav, Sushma Swaraj is just meeting with President Xi Jinping. She began the meeting by saying he had very fond recollections of his visit to Gujarat, and he expects Prime Minister Narendra Modi to reciprocate when he comes to China in May. China is hoping that Prime Minister Narendra Modi will take up Xi's invitation to visit Shanxi province. And the message is very much that the two leaders want to show that they have a personal equation which will have a transformative impact on India-China relations.
That's a very important point. India and China want to take this relationship to a new level, transformative relationship. We heard that in context of President Barack Obama in the US. Now we are hearing this in context of President Xi Jinping and Prime Minister Narendra Modi. Anant, where does this leave the contentious issues, the boundary issue between India and China?
Well, Sushma Swaraj had a very clear message in terms of how the Modi government looks at relations with China. She said that President Xi Jinping can expect India to be more open when it comes to doing business with China in terms of welcoming Chinese investments, but at the same time that a prerequisite for closer relations was peace and stability on the boundary. So without having peace and tranquility on the boundary areas, it will be very difficult to take ties forward in other aspects of the relationship.
That's extremely important, Anant. And since you're on ground zero, you've interacted with the Indian leadership, you've been interacting with the Chinese relationship. How is Sushma Swaraj's visit different from previous visits of external affairs ministers to China, Anant?
Well, Gaurav, as you know, the main focus of this visit is laying the groundwork for Prime Minister Narendra Modi's visit to China. The message from both countries is that they want Prime Minister Modi's visit to be special. They want it to be what Sushma Swaraj said is outcomes driven, not just a visit which has, empty statements and rhetoric. They want to have 4 or 5 big deals to show. So essentially this visit is about laying the groundwork for that to happen.
Keep tracking that story, Anant. I will come back to you for more on this. Sushma Swaraj looking at a result-oriented visit. Prime Minister Narendra Modi expected to visit China around the 26th or before 26th of May. And the Chinese president wants this to be a memorable visit. Is this then going to be a new chapter in India-China relations? And where does this leave the vexed boundary issue? We'll track that story very closely.